Hi there, Prey Plant Girl here. Well, it's March 29th, so we're getting to the end of winter in southern Saskatchewan here and getting into spring. You can't tell by looking around me here. I don't know if you can tell, but there's snow in the air right now while I'm out here. But I do have a lot of things growing. They're just inside. Just to give you an idea maybe of how much I've started growing, let me show you my soil supply. You can see here beside me, I have some bags of soil. They were in the house, but they had fungus gnats, so I just put them out here to try and keep the gnats out of my house. So I had 4 of these bags that I purchased in the fall, 50 liters. And I'm down to this half bag and 1 more bag here. This one is empty over here. It's just keeping it here so it doesn't blow away. And then 1 full one here. So I've gone through 2.5 50-liter bags. Plus I had actually purchased some other soil and coco coir for a little experiment, and I've gone through all that as well. So there's lots growing in the house. Unfortunately, too cold to keep it out here. I have my Coldframe out there behind me, and I've been using it, but it's just too cold. It's below 0 right now, below freezing. So I've had to move everything back inside. But a lot of my plants, the cool weather plants, have been coming out here and spending their days out here, and then usually going inside at night. But we'll go in and we'll check it all out, and you see what I have growing. Here we are in my son's bedroom. I have a fan going in here, and it's back there. It's hard to get to, so I'm going to leave it on just for a few minutes. So sorry if it's too loud, but this will be quick down here. So I just have my Sunblaster lights on stands here. These are kind of my more cool loving plants that I have down here. So some pots of tulips. Don't look like much is happening right now. You can see they are starting to poke through, and there are roots. I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but there are roots coming through the bottom of some of these here. And I have snapdragons, a couple different kinds of snapdragons, and some of them are not looking so healthy. And I don't know if that's, like I said, they've been out in the cold a little bit, and I'm wondering if maybe I left them out a couple nights, and even though they had some frost blanket on them, I'm thinking they got a little bit nipped maybe, these taller ones with some frost. I'm not sure. Got a little too chilly that night for them, I think. And then there's some pansies back there, and they're wanting to flower, so it's gonna be really nice. Get those out, they'll be ready soon. Then I have some more tulips popping up there. I have a little bit of Brussels sprouts and cabbage right down there. They're looking great. That's my onions. They've had their first haircut. Some gorgeous daffodils. I don't know how well you can see them there, but they really want to go outside and show off. But they'll be out soon. I could take those upstairs and enjoy them, but it's a lot cooler down here, and I'm trying to save them. Trying to save the rest of them there so that I'll have a display outside in early spring before the other bulbs get going. So that's why I'm forcing them. That's why they're just staying down here. And then I have this tray here, and yeah, I have some sticky traps there. There's some fungus gnats in here, but not too bad, and the traps are doing their job. But this is my anemone and ranunculus, and the ranunculus coming up real well. These actually should be in the dark, but this is the only room I have them in, and they were starting to stretch for these lights that are on here the last couple days, so I just stuck them here by the lights so that they weren't getting all stretched out. It's better to have, I think, them getting the light if they know it's there than not. The anemone, I don't think are doing anything. I think they've just rotted off. I don't know. They just doesn't seem to be much happening with them. So I don't know. These were all bulbs that I saved from last year. My first time trying this with overwintering them and growing them out. So we'll see. And these are more ranunculus down here, and they're starting to come up too and form their roots. You don't really need them. Like, this is the pre-sprouting. So you're gonna find one here. The pre-sprouting, and we don't really need them to sprout on the top. So what we're really looking is to try and get some root development started. So these have been in, I think, for a week, and this hasn't done much, but then some of the others that have been in the same amount of time are starting to sprout. The first batch that I put in actually took about 4 weeks to start to do anything. I thought they were goners. But what we're really hoping to get is some roots on the bottom. And I don't know, they just don't seem... Oh, this one starts... It's feeling like it has... Yeah, there's definitely roots on there. So that's what we're looking for, is those roots more than anything else. Just to get them to start going that way. But these are a very cool weather crop, and will go quickly from cold and snowy to hot, so giving them a little jump start before I get them outside is the best thing. I've heard they can get down, you know, to around -2 Celsius and be just quite happy outside, so these will go out in the next probably few weeks here. We'll just keep an eye on the weather. Okay, so you've seen my cool weather crops that are hiding in the basement under lights, waiting for this little blast of snowy weather that we have today to move on through. But let's go upstairs where it's nice and warm and into my my plant room. Okay, so this is my plant room. You guys don't often see this backed up look at it. A little bit of a disaster right now. Let's move over here and have a look. So on this grow shelf system, I just have a combination of Barrina and what are they called? Minois grow lights, and there's some Sunblasters down on the bottom 2 shelves, or McKenzie lights. They seem to do the same thing. So the bottom 2 shelves are both T5 lights, and then the rest are all LEDs. They still warm up. The LEDs, like this, the ballast or whatever it's called here, still gets quite warm, but not as warm as the T5s. The T5s are nice. I actually have them down here. I know you want to see what I'm growing, but these T5s, if I can get a shot of them, they give off a fair amount of heat off the ballast and come in from the light as well. So I really like them for my young seedlings. So I have some smaller seedlings under here that would like a little bit of warmth and that nice bright light. And then these are sitting on top. There's 2 4-foot Sunblaster lights under here, so it's almost like having them on a heat mat. There is 1 heat mat at this end, 1 at this end, and the rest aren't on heat mats, but it seems to work just as well, or almost as well anyways, having those T5 lights under them. So let's start down here since we're down here. These are actually Snapdragon seedlings that I had started in row trays or channel trays, and I've planted them out now into individual plug cells. I can see I've lost one here. It's actually right back here, but I don't think it's going to survive. I'm not sure what happened, but I do have a couple of doubles that are coming up in some of them anyways, even though I transplanted, and maybe some triples. I got a little lazy in some spots, so. But these are Madam Butterfly Bronze, Rocket Mix, and Snaptastic Mix there, so they're looking really good. This is my celery and parsley that I made a video about and said, be patient, it takes so long. This year it just popped right up like nothing. I've never had it come up so fast, but they're doing really well. I do think there's something in here in the celery that must have been in the soil. I'm quite certain that's not, in the parsley, that's not parsley there, so I need to weed that out. I've just been kind of curious to see what it would be. In the very back, you might see something kind of spiky there. That's like pet grass or oat grass. Just threw some in for a fun little experiment. I've trimmed some off, and then I've left some just growing to see if the ones that I trimmed will spool out a little bit more, or how they'll work out that way. These pink trays have some foxgloves that I've up potted. They did not need to be in such big pots like this at this point. They're just teeny tiny little seedlings. Again, they were in the channel trays. This is just what I had, and foxgloves do get larger, so I thought, well, I'll just throw them in here. So there's a Camelot mix in both of these. My Camelot mix did really well for me. I think that was saved seed from last year's plant, so I can't remember for sure. Under here, oh, they can see 24.9 Celsius. So there's a heat mat under here, so it's a little bit warmer. And again, the T5 is above and below this tray, but this is my shishito peppers, which I've actually reseeded. They finally started to come up. So I'm not sure if these were the original seeds and they just took about a month to come up, or if these are the second sowing, but I have 3 definitely up, and 1 more I think I saw in the middle of the back row there that's starting to come up. So I'm really happy about that. I was starting to think I wasn't going to get shishitos, which I really wanted to try. Behind in there, that's some bananas that I'm experimenting with. I bought some banana seed this year, and so I'm trying to do a little video about how those grow or don't grow, and I'll put that out when I have some results. So that's just how they're supposed to be right now, back there in some water, standing water, and covered up in the dark in warm on a heat mat. So that's what they're doing. Beside the peppers and the bananas, I just did this yesterday. I sowed a little bit of cauliflower and 2 kinds of broccoli. So I have some early snowball cauliflower and green magic and Arcadia broccoli, just hoping that I can get space kind of protected and covered up and ready to have those out a little bit earlier this year. If I pull this out a little bit, I don't know if that made it better or worse to see. So there's my foxglove. So there's some more Camelot mix. Oh, so maybe I'd grown, the foxglove must have been in this tray. I don't think I had it in the channel tray and this. I forgot where I'm growing everything. So I had separated these out a little bit and taken some for those other trays. You can see some still need some separating and moving around, but I'll just leave them for now. This is my Dalmatian peach, and the germination is not great on these. I have one here. I think there's another one back. Yeah, there's one back here, but they've just started to kind of pop up. I think there's another one just starting to come up there. The soil's not looking healthy on top. I'll maybe get a skewer or something and just kind of move that around a little bit. But you don't want to, the seeds need to be exposed to light, so I've been trying to just leave it and not mess with it. These 2 trays of the foxglove I did have down with the cooler weather stuff. They're supposed to do well in cooler temperatures for germinating, but they just didn't seem like they were doing much, so I brought them up. And then they started to germinate, so I don't know, because foxglove does take a while to get going. This is some white kohlrabi back here. I don't see anything happening yet. They've just been in there a couple days. Oh, there might be just a little one coming up there. There's purple kohlrabi back there, and you can see about 5 coming there. I have some trays with some cleome seeded at the very back. They're not doing anything. And then bunny-tails grass just starting to peek up there. Every cell there has some, so they're doing pretty good, I think. These 2 trays, I won't pull them out because there's nothing actually happening in them, but I have 2 trays of tomatoes, and each tray has 1 little pack of basil in it. So I don't even know, 2, 4... I think there was 30 kinds of tomatoes, and I just have them multi-sown in these, what are they, about 3-inch pots. So I've just put a whole bunch of seeds in each pot, and each pot just has 1 variety in it. And then when they start to pop up here, I can divide them out into their own trays. Go up to the next shelf. I think these are the Barrina grow lights here. They all connect together, and they actually connect together with the Minois. I don't know, I'll put links to the bottom if you want to see what they are. But I think that's what these are here, and they're an LED. A little tiny bit of heat maybe coming off, and a pretty pretty clear light, slightly pinkish in tone maybe, but pretty nice. And this is, let me remember, Salpaglosis, or you might know it as painted tongue. And they're just sowed these last few days here, and they're starting to peek out already in the odd spot in the channel tray. There's one over there, one there. So I have 4 rows of those, hopefully spaced out well. And then the next little row that's on its own, there's Cleome. That has been taking forever to come up. That was sown, I believe, at the beginning of the month or shortly after, and I have, what, two seedlings coming up. So we'll see. Maybe, you know, I said I couldn't remember what happened to my Cleome last year. Well, maybe it just didn't do anything. And that's just a few marigolds from saved marigold seed that I had. I usually start a few marigolds early inside. Most of my marigolds I will just like direct sow or sow in the last week in the greenhouse, you know, week or two before my average last frost there. So that's all that is there. Beside that, this is all Impatiens, I believe. Yep. So these are just from my saved seed, and I just potted them up. And again, I might have been a little bit lazy, and then some of them just had they just had seed that hadn't germinated yet when I potted them up. So that's probably why there's this tiny one here. There's another little one down right there. But these are looking really good. And then I did just kind of grab what was left and just throw them in those little pots at the end there. So some of them are really thick. But I just thought I'll just see what happens with them like that. Next door to the Impatiens. If I get the lid off. This is one of the flimsiest humidity domes I've ever had. This is a lot of the plants that you just maybe saw me plant in a recent video, and I'm surprised at how much action has happened. These have only been in here for, what is it, like maybe 5 days. And this is the Love in a Mist. I'm not sure if that, no, I don't think that's anything growing there yet, but so that, nothing happening I don't think in that tray yet. But the Globe Amaranth, they're kind of reddish in color. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them. Oh, you can see there's like a couple coming there, there. Almost every cell has, I have 3 cells in this tray of 9 that don't have any, and every cell of this tray has some coming up in it. So I'm pretty impressed with that, how well those came up. And then the yarrow, looks like I have about 3 or 4 just starting to come up now. And again, I don't know how well you'll be able to see them. There's one right here. It still has its little seed cap on, but it's come up. There's one right here. There's one back here somewhere. There's one here. So the yarrow is definitely coming up. And then that's some herbs in the back, and they've done nothing except the winter thyme. I don't know if you can see the green kind of along the edge there. That's the winter thyme. The rest have nothing. But there's winter thyme, lemon balm, mint, regular thyme, and Greek oregano. So I expect I'll see something in all of those in just a matter of time here. Up here is the rest of my peppers. So the shishitos were down on the heat mat still because they were just taking their sweet time getting going. And then I have some Monets. I've already pinched back some of my peppers just to make them bush out, fill in a little bit. But they're all doing really well. I start my peppers fairly early. We have a very short season here. And so I want to get them going and get them to be fairly mature plants by the time they're going out. I had a couple that were starting to try and flower already. I can't remember. I think they were the sweet lipstick in the back there. I had pinched some, oh here, this is what it was that I pinched. Jalapeno. And that was one of my first peppers that I planted. So yeah, and they were starting to flower, so I pinched out the ones that were flowering. And they were just getting quite large anyways. I want to try and keep them at the same size so I can keep the lights about even. These are also the Barrinas, I believe. Oh, the one in the back is the Manoir, I think, because it has the lights here. I think it's the Manoirs that have the double tubes in the light fixture, and the Barrinas have a single tube. But they all connect together, so that's nice. I can connect the two brands together. So anyways, back to the plants. So there's the peppers. I have chrysanthemum bright eyes right here. They are coming up very nicely. Here's a little bit of soapwort just starting to peek out there. And then the rest of this tray all has dianthus, what's it called? Loveliness Rainbow, or Rainbow Loveliness, or something like that. And I had grown those again in the channel trays and just popped them out into these 9-cell packs. Angelica, I only had 2 Angelica come up, and I just moved them over into these pots just to get a 9-cell pack freed up for other things. And there's some Echium russicum, or you might know it as Viper's bug loss. And again, only had 2 out of 9 come up. They look healthy, so we'll just leave them. And then I had a few more of the snapdragons in the trays, and I just put them into these pots just in big clumps, and I'll deal with them later. They're still small enough they can live like that for a bit. This is Rudbeckia Prairie Sun. These came up very nicely for me. And over here is the Rudbeckia Cherry Brandy, I believe it is. And they all came up. One's really small. We'll see how it does, but they're all coming up. This is some cumin here. I think it's looking pretty good. I don't know. I direct sowed it last year. You're supposed to direct sow it, but I just wanted to try getting it a little bit earlier. And there's some sage right there. And I had planted some rosemary seeds in this a little, I don't know, a week or so ago. It doesn't look like much is happening with that, so I guess time will tell if that grows for me or not. And then we have one more level to go up here with plants. I'm just gonna get on a stool so we can reach. So this is my petunias. So this whole shelf is petunias. So now the trick's gonna be, oh, and some Calibrachoa, I guess. So the trick is to know what's what. I believe it's a blue wave in the 3 rows at the very back. And the rest of this tray is from Save Seed off of some white petunias. They were White Storm petunias, so we'll see. And I had pretty good germination. I thought it was 100%, so I don't know if I've lost a few. And when I say 100%, I just mean each tray. This was Save Seed. I just sprinkled, like there was probably 10 in each tray. So really it's not that amazing of germination, I guess, when you really think about it. But I'm happy, and I have enough. So pretty soon, like within the week, I'll probably come through and separate out any cells that have like 2, and then just fill in the cells that are empty. Just give them a little bit more time. They might still pop up there if they haven't. This again is the same thing. It's the White Storm from the Save Seed, and you can see lots of them have multiple plants in each cell. And then at the very back, there's 3 rows with Calibrachoa, and that was from seed that I saved as well. So that'll be interesting to see what no, was it? Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. And again, pretty, like most of the spots have something coming up in them, and some have multiples, so I'll be able to spread them out a little bit. And we'll see what we get out of those. So it's fun to see. I had hardly any come up from purchase seed last year with the Calibrachoa, but I just probably had that much more seed with the Save Seed that I'll have a few plants here. That'll be nice. And then what do I have? This is all Petunia Island Waterfall mix. Pretty good germination rate on these. I see one right here that doesn't have anything in it, and I think I put 1 to 2 seeds in each of these trays. I see one with nothing growing in it. I see a couple that have random things. I don't know if you can see the random things coming up. There's a little stringy green thing over there, and there's something that's just definitely not a petunia coming up over there, but it has petunias in both of those as well, so I'm not too stressed about that right now. And then this is Shockwave Purple. So these, again, I just see one that looks like it has nothing coming up in it. And I think I put 1 seed in each of these, although there's 2 things coming up in this tray here. So, and there's a couple coming up in this tray over here. So if those both prove to be petunias, I can move some over. And then the rest is more of the waterfall mix down there. And again, one pot at the very back, kind of second in from the left there. It looks like it has nothing in it. The rest all came up. Okay, so that's what I have growing right now. It's that really exciting time here in southern Saskatchewan. We can get a lot going and a lot planted. March was busy, especially with flowers and getting those ready. April will be a lot more vegetables for me and bulbs. I just went and pulled my bulbs, like my summer flowering bulbs, like dahlias, cannas, begonias, my acidanthera, my crocosmia. I just brought all of those home from their winter storage. So those will be getting potted up soon. They're just sitting in my cold garage right now. Though I noticed my begonias are actually, some of them, at least one, are sprouting. I just broke the sprouts off, not realizing what it was at first. But that's exciting. So I'll be getting those going very soon here. And starting lots of my cool weather crops. I'm going to be preparing my beds outside so that the soil's warming up early and I get some things planted out there. I'll be able to utilize my Coldframe more. And April's just going to be even more exciting than March was for me. And I love March. I love, you know, the excitement of getting lots of things going and getting these grow shelves filled. I don't know if you noticed, but I only have room for about 3 more trays on my grow shelf behind me here. I could do a little bit of moving things around and maybe fit one more, but a lot of these plants, especially the ones down in the basement, they'll be going out to the cold frame as soon as we're past this last bit of really cold weather. It's supposed to start warming up and I should be able to have plants out there, I think, pretty much every day now. Within the next week. They might still have to come in at night. I'll probably be utilizing some frost cloth out there. The cold frame doesn't hold heat at night, but it's a great place for the plants to be during the day. In case I didn't mention it, yes, my son's bedroom floor is covered in plants right now, but he is off at university. I'm not making him try and navigate around plants all day long. But yeah, really excited. Lots to start planting, a little bit more flowers, more vegetables, and more outside things coming up in April. So stick with me and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.